we've created a movement. This is like a great movement that the whole world is talking about. And honestly, you'll never have this chance. In 4 years, I don't care who it is that runs, you're never going to have this chance. So you have to get out and vote.
Hillary Clinton's running mate Tim Kaine, meantime, campaigning today in North Carolina, calling Trump's thinking on nuclear weapons, quote, zany. Kaine saying he's, as he put it, scared to death by the thought of Trump as commander-in-chief. I'm Chaz Henry. In Charleston, South Carolina, jury selection began today for former North Charleston police officer Michael Slager's trial in the shooting death of an unarmed black motorist. Next week, jury selection resumes for Dylan Roof's federal death penalty trial. He's accused of shooting 9 black parishioners at a Charleston church. Police Chief Jerome Taylor among those encouraging calm during those trials.
We have a working and building coalition with different individuals from the clergy, from just individuals within the streets, and we are all in this together.
The Supreme Court today rejected an appeal from an Alabama death row inmate who claimed that evidence withheld by prosecutors entitled him to a new court hearing. And more than 70 years after Raoul Wallenberg disappeared in Hungary, Swedish authorities have formally pronounced the World War II hero dead. The Swedish diplomat was credited with saving at least 20,000 Hungarian Jews, helping them escape the Holocaust. He's believed to have died in Soviet captivity. The Dow right now down 19. I'm Chaz Henry.
All loans subject to lender approval, must be in business 1 year and have $100,000 in annual revenue. If your goal is to take your small business to the next level, there's something you're going to need above all else: money. Fortunately, we're talking with someone who's no stranger to helping small businesses. Barbara Corcoran from TV Shark Tank.
Listen, all companies need capital, and when it comes to capital, no one knows small business like OnDeck. OnDeck has delivered over $5 billion in loans, and having earned an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, it's no wonder why 9 out of 10 customers would recommend OnDeck to a friend. There's no obligation, and you could receive a loan decision in minutes and funding in as fast as 1 business day. Over 50,000 small businesses have already received the loans they needed, and so could you.
Speak with our U.S.-based loan specialists and find out how much you qualify for now at OnDeckLending.com or call 800-367-2200. That's 800-367-2200. 800-367-2200.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
It's painful when your teenager and your household is out of control. Out of control behavior is your teen's way of telling you something is wrong. Sometimes the reasons for their out of control behavior are so personal and tragic, your teen would never tell you or anyone else about them, but their actions speak louder than words. If your teen is suddenly exhibiting out of control behavior and hanging out with the wrong crowd, there is something you can do. There is hope. Action Parent and Teen Support meetings meet at Canyon High every Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. They work with teen anger, defiance, rebellion, truancy, and drug and alcohol problems. And meetings are free. Give them a call. Their counselors can help. Call 297-8691 or 1-800-4TEEN. That's 297-8691 or 1-800-4TEEN. Action. They can help.
Hi, George here with your hometown forecast. Happy Halloween, and a cool one it is today as daytime highs top out at 65 degrees under partly cloudy skies. It might be a bit brisk for trick-or-treaters as we can expect tonight's lows to drop to 48 degrees. Temps will warm up as the week progresses, reaching 80 by Friday. Step out to stop diabetes with the American Diabetes Association this Saturday. Help raise funds to prevent and cure diabetes. Walkers can bring along their leashed canine friends. For information, visit stepout.diabetes.org.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Welcome to Families in Action on your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen. I am your host, but I don't host it myself. I have a co-host, Michael Doherty, which we usually call Michael the Silver Fox. We're changing his name today to Michael, I got the amount of years I was married wrong.
Oh.
Now, I have to explain to our listeners
No, you don't. This
that a couple of weeks ago I said I was married 43 years, but I was
Mary,
married
are you
46
listening?
years. Uh-oh. And my wife said, "Why did you say that?" I said, "I don't know. I just 43 stuck in my mind."
I just had to do that because I told you I was going to get you today, so
Right.
I feel better now.
Okay.
Anyways, Families in Action is brought to you by your local hometown station, AM 1220. We very much appreciate that. We've been on the air 13 years?
Yes.
Almost 13 years.
No, 13. Well, almost, yes.
Almost
We're
13 years.
Creeping up on it.
That's a very long time, and I believe that the message that we give out is something super important, so thank you for that. And it's also brought to you by Action Family Counseling, which is alcohol and drug treatment programs. We have everything from intensive outpatient programs to residential live-ins and everything in between, and then the foundation, which I'll let you talk about.
Cary, we talked about this last week, but the foundation did such a great thing. What was it, two Saturdays ago now, where we did the drug take back, which was a big success.
Yes.
And that was a neat thing that was done by the Action Foundation. But it's been a while since we mentioned this, but a couple of things that happen. Every Tuesday from 7 to 9 at Canyon High School, you do the free, I say, parent support group. You run that, correct?
I do. I'll be there.
So people can meet you.
I've been running that for, well, I'm talking 25 years ago. It was actually called Tough Love, and then it changed to Action, and we've been up here over 25 years.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, different locations, but the same group.
And the other thing that we haven't mentioned in a little bit is the Action Academy, which is a free public sober school for local junior and senior high school students, and that's run through Canyon. Not Canyon High School.
Hart School.
The Hart School District.
It's a
right?
joint venture between Action and Hart School Districts. And there's a few sober schools in this country, but I don't know of any that's actually a drug rehabilitation center and a school district combined to make this thing work. So the academics go through the Hart School District, and the treatment goes through Action, and it's been extremely successful. Because a lot of these kids, they're 14, 15 years old, they start using drugs, and it's not that every kid uses, but every kid they know uses. So it gives them a safe place to go and get support. Where the other kids in the room are doing the same thing. They're trying to stay sober and live a productive life. And our goal at the Action Academy is not to keep kids in our school. Our goal is to get these kids strong enough to be able to go back to the mainstream school and graduate with their class. So we don't want to keep them in a bubble, but we want to give them the tools they need to be able to say no.
And one more thing for the foundation, and that is, and I almost got to see it in action.
Almost.
That's the experience. You
Correct.
almost brought it out for the drug take
It's
back.
ready to drive and go wherever we want to take it. We were going to take it to the drug take back over at Henry Mayo. But when I got there, I realized in that circle where we were, there's too many people dropping patients off and doctors and stuff. It would have really been in the way.
Yeah, it's a little big.
Yes.
Tell our listener what that's all about, because that is so cool.
It's
Cary.
a driving, moving memorial. So it's some people seen it over at Action Corporate over there on Soledad. It's a big RV, and it's got No More and the experience and drugs kill and that kind of stuff. And when somebody goes in there, there's going to be TVs inside, and on the TV screens are going to be people like Chrissy McAfee that are sharing, I lost my kid to a drug overdose, and the story is going to be told. So when somebody walks in there, it's going to be intense at best.
That's a very cool
It's
thing.
another tool that we have that we can use to kind of fight this war on drugs. I don't know that we're ever going to win it, but I'll tell you one thing: we can make a difference. And more tools we have in our toolbox, the better chance we have to save lives. And
when you consider
and just so Dan and Wendy, in our show, in 1 hour, 5 people will die from an accidental drug overdose. That's, accidental. That's not including suicides and homicides and robberies and beatings and rapes and molestations and domestic violence due to alcohol and drugs. But during our 1 hour show, a minimum of 5 people will lose their lives to an accidental drug overdose. So the experience is just one more tool that we can use to we want to beat that number up. We don't want any deaths, but we want to beat that number up any way we can.
Cary, I have a very short action file item.
Okay.
And this is going to tie right into what you were just talking about. We have this opioid epidemic. Here's some good news for a change. Last week, a major health insurance company announced it would no longer require pre-authorization to allow physicians to begin treating patients battling opioid addiction. Before this change, those struggling would have to wait for their treatment to begin based on an authorization cycle.
Well, let me tell you how that works.
Yeah.
And let's introduce our guest. I'll let you do that first. I want to include him
Sure.
in our conversation.
Absolutely. Well, today, after we finish talking about this, we're going to be talking about foster parenting, and we have two wonderful people here for us. Actually, foster parenting and adoption we're going to talk about. But this Dan Broyles, who's one of our
Well,
local...
How come there's not 5 wonderful people here? What about me? Am I chopped liver and you and a board off?
We covered that before we started the show, Cary.
Okay, just check it.
You know, we're all wonderful people in here, but we have two, let's say,
Special.
exceptionally
There you
wonderful people. Dan Broyles, who's
So
a care
that means
pastor.
we're less than?
Yes,
Okay.
who's the care pastor at Grace Baptist Church. He's trying not to let me get through this, Dan. Do you hear this? Dan is one of our local heroes that you talk about.
Definitely is.
Does so much for so many people, and he's brought with him Wendy Johnson, who leads the foster care adoption group at Grace Baptist Church. And listen to this, she also does presentation about the fears of foster care and adoption, which we'll talk about today. She has 2 sons, plus she has 2 children. I said 2 sons, but they may not be. You have 2 children. They're your children. Plus you have adopted
you did get that
3
wrong.
children.
You
So
did get
now
that
you've
wrong,
got
Mike.
5 children, and you are getting ready to adopt another one.
That's correct.
Wow.
So she's really one of our heroes.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. Yes.
Cary's just going to keep trying to make it tough for me.
No, I'm gonna actually behave now. Okay?
So you were talking about this
Oh, the
really
insurance.
cool thing that we've done with insurance.
See, I love what you just said, and I did not hear this. But here's how it works. Since I own.
By the way, do you want to know who it was?
Yes,
who the insurance
I was
company-
going to ask you that.
Cigna.
Cigna, actually, that makes sense because Friday I got a phone call from Cigna saying they wanted to turn action into an MVP, meaning we don't have to call anymore.
Oh,
We could
wow.
just bring them in and then we get us like 2 weeks up front.
MVP meaning most valuable player?
Yes. So we are for many insurance, but here's how most insurance companies work today. And I've been in the field of treatment for 30 years. And it used to be there were no managed care. Everyone had insurance. They can come in, they could stay a month, 2, 3, 4 months and get treatment. But treatment centers were taking advantage of it, and managed care came into the picture, and things changed pretty dramatically. So if I was to, let's say, get a heroin addict today, and this person had, I'm not going to beat up insurances yet. I'm going to go after him soon. But let's say he has an insurance. He hasn't been an outpatient. He comes in our office. He's strung out. He's shooting dope. He's like dying in the corner. It feels like he is. And I call the insurance company and they say, has he failed outpatient? And I'll go, well, I am the outpatient. He's too sick. No, start him in outpatient. They will not even allow him to come in most of the time. Crystal meth, there is no medical detox, so they're turning them down. If we get the approval on in most of insurance companies, they'll give us 1 to 3 days. And then after that, we have to call in and try to get more days. Sometimes they'll give us another 5 days, and then they're going to say, we'll cut them to partial, meaning they don't want to pay for the sleepover. And then it's completely crazy trying to get treatment for these people. And then they want to know why so many people are dying. And their thing is, well, this person's been in rehab 3 or 4 times. So what? Who are they or who is anybody to say maybe it takes 6 times, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 7. So that's some of the reasons why we're losing. Someone is going to have to come in here, and it's going to have to be the government to really oversee the insurance companies and what's going on. So we're having an epidemic. People are dying every hour, 5 a minimum. And we have insurance companies that aren't allowing you to use your insurance that you pay for to get treatment you want. That makes no sense to me. So and I've been doing this for longer than most. And it still makes no sense to me.
So this is very good news.
This is great news.
And hopefully others will follow suit with that. That's really neat.
Hopefully. I mean, something's got to happen because, I mean, even the president candidates in the Senate, anytime you're listening to anything, it's an opiate epidemic. People are dying. Why? It's pretty simple. We don't have enough treatment for people that don't have any fundings, and the people who have insurance can't use it. It's like, I buy all this insurance. I got 30 days. I hear it all the time. We've been approved for 30 days. I said, no, you have 30 days. We still have to get it approved. So it's a battle that's just insane.
Well, good news is good news,
That
and we
being said, yes.
usually report a lot of things that aren't such good news with this epidemic.
No, this
So
is
it's
great,
nice.
and it fits exactly to what you said. To what happened Friday when us getting a call that they want us to be MVPs. We are for another insurance company, meaning if you have like MHN, Managed Health Network, and you call for treatment, I don't have to call the insurance. I could just bring you in. It's an automatic 2 weeks, then I go for more days. So that's really good news.
Well, I've got a little bit here to bring us into our topic for today. In 2014, over 400,000 American children were in foster care, taken away when their families were in crisis and could not take care of them. Now, Cary,
How many kids?
400,000. And again, this is 2014,
That's
so we know
so
the
sad.
statistic.
I'm
It's
just
going to be
looking
higher.
at Wendy.
Yeah.
That's
But
so
tragic.
sad.
Yeah.
And
it really
here's
is.
here's the next thing you need to understand. A child enters foster care every 2 minutes in the United States alone. So during our 1 hour, 60 children will enter foster care.
Meaning
That's a lot of children.
they're taken away from their parents.
That's right.
Or
for
their
one reason or the
primary caregiver.
And so
who
here we
would
have
be.
two folks, Dan Broyles and Wendy Johnson, who are involved in making a difference in this area.
So Dan, before we go, tell us again. I mean, everyone knows who you are, but introduce yourself. Give us your stuff.
Sure. So, by the way, thanks just again for having me. And we have a gathering at our church. We actually have a conference coming up in 2 weeks on foster care, adoption, even trafficking. And prior to being on staff as a pastor at Grace Baptist, I was a social worker for Child Protective Services. So I would be the one going into homes and taking children out of the homes when there is abuse or neglect. And there's just so many sad stories.
You know, just for a little bit of whatever. Tell us one of the worst that you see.
Some of the worst ones, I would say, involved sexual abuse. Those were really delicate cases that to interview kids 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and some right here in Santa Clarita that we live next door to, it's just really tragic because the impact on these kids is for the rest of their life. There's impact on those type of situations. And so at Grace, I know Wendy and I just have a passion. What do we do to make a difference? How do we help kids? How do we help even find people to be good foster parents? Because there's a real need for quality foster homes in our area. And so we just have a real passion how to help children in need.
Right. And I want to put a date on what you already mentioned, but you do have Saturday, November 12th from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. You're going to have a foster care and adoption summit right here in Santa Clarita.
Right.
And we'll mention that several times throughout the program here. So anybody that needs to or wants to can attend that.
Right. We're really excited about that. We have over 20 agencies that will be part of that event, that people can come and get information. It's not just for people that want to be foster parents. It's really about people who want to care for kids. There's actually going to be breakout sessions on protecting your kids online. There's going to be stuff on how to volunteer for kids that are trafficked.
Right.
So it's not just for people that want to become a foster parent or adopt a parent. Now, that's the primary focus. But there's other things that really apply to anybody that just wants to care for kids better.
I deal with a lot of stuff in my career, but when it comes to children, it's the worst. When children have to suffer consequences of adults, and like you said, when you were working for Department of Children's Service and had to take kids away, you're walking into a home and you're talking sexual abuse. People these kids trust.
Right. And this is abuse by the people these kids should trust the most.
Of course.
Meaning their close family members sometimes, which is the betrayal of trust is just so great.
And Wendy, I'm going to say this right this time. You have two biological children.
That's correct.
Okay.
I call them homegrown.
Less homegrown.
You got two homegrowns.
You have 3 adopted children currently, and you're getting ready to adopt a 4th child.
Right.
What brought you into this?
I have always had a passion for adoption. When I was a little girl and I watched the movie Annie, I wanted my mom to go get Molly. Like, it just has always kind of hit me.
I can see that.
Yeah, like I love Molly. She was like going to be my sister, you know? And in high school, I remember seeing the Lost Children in China, and it really hit me. Like, I would like to do this. And I even went to my mom and said, can we adopt a little girl from China? And she was like, you can. I'm like, okay.
And you did.
I did. So I went ahead and every guy I dated, I just said, you know what? I want to have 2 and I want to adopt 2. That was kind of my thing with them.
Very
and they
cool.
were my husband was like, yeah, okay. Whatever. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started with everything.
But what a neat person to be able to say yes to that too.
Yeah. Oh,
so
absolutely.
he obviously shares your passion.
Yes, he absolutely now, for sure. And I think it really hit him once we had our son Matthew.
Right.
And he saw children who had no homes, you know, in him. Like, what if we died today and no one could take care of Matthew? That's powerful.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
What are some of the current needs of foster children here in our area in Santa Clarita? Let's bring this home a little bit.
Well, let me ask you a question first, just my own curiosity. For people that are thinking, well, maybe I want to adopt, and they have other children already.
Right.
How does the blend work? Because I imagine it could have challenges.
It's definitely been, I mean, it's a huge story.
Yeah,
and I
I
won't
wanna
say
hear
all
it.
of it. Okay. Well, my 2 biological children were 3.5 and 2 when I
Okay.
brought my daughter home from China.
Gotcha.
They don't remember a time without Megan. They just don't.
So she's sister.
She's the sister that's part of our family. Our next 2 are siblings from the foster care system.
Right.
And they came when my children were older.
Okay.
Matthew and Victoria have accepted them with no problem. Actually, my daughter from China is the one who really struggled with the adjustment.
Right.
And I kind of actually thought of adopting for her again, so she didn't feel like we were the family and Megan was the Chinese one.
Right.
And so that's actually why we kind of pursued foster care.
Gotcha. No, that I understand that, but I could also see how maybe she's thinking somebody might be stepping in now.
Yes.
I mean, that's even in blended families, people think that, oh, you're seeing this. What about their kids? So, no, but I could see the love in your eyes for your children, and I could see that that's definitely going to run down to your other children.
And it has. I mean, my children are amazing. Most people look at my family and go, wow, they all get along so well, and they fight their siblings just like every other siblings. But it doesn't matter if I had a baby birth, they'd be mad too.
Of course.
It doesn't really matter.
I agree with you. So I just wanted to let people know that, hey,
Yes.
those are obstacles that can easily be worked through.
No.
Well,
Now, part of it, though, it doesn't mean it's always easy,
Of course.
right? And
Not at all.
sometimes I think people want to help without any mess, right? And I don't think that's the reality of when you're helping people in general.
No.
And so I know just Wendy's family a little bit, and it doesn't make it all perfect either. And
Oh, absolutely.
and really trying to be diligent in how to love each kid individually.
And my fear of foster parenting, I speak on that at the conference. I absolutely tell my story about Megan, my Chinese daughter, because it was really hard at first.
What is-
Extraordinarily hard.
Meaning what?
She was a hard child. She was 2.5, so
Yes.
she was a toddler. She had to change
You're
language
talking terrible
midstream.
twos and
Yeah,
add all
right.
this.
Yeah, exactly. I had to add terrible twos. I had another 2-year-old daughter. I had a daughter who she really thought I kidnapped her. You know, I didn't look anything like her. I didn't speak her language. I didn't smell. America smells different than China. You know, everything to her was taken away. She didn't go, oh, wow, thanks for adopting me. She said, oh my gosh, I hate this woman. She's making me live under my house, follow my rules. I don't understand her most of the time. And
Where was she living when you...
she was in an orphanage for the first 9 months.
Right.
And then when they know they're going to be internationally adopted, they are sent to foster homes in China. So she was
they
actually
already get kind of bonded.
She had
and
bonded
then-
with her foster mom.
So you talk about abandonment issues.
Yep.
It just keeps on going. I've been dealing with people for a long time, kids, you know, and we could talk about this when we come back from break, but a lot of times when kids have been adopted, they have that abandonment issues that actually push people away.
Yes.
And they set it up just
Yep.
because no one's going to love me anyways. So when we get back from break, let's talk about some of those little obstacles. This is Families in Action on our hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.